Welcome to the Soul Alignment channel. Oh my goodness. Good morning. Well, at least it's morning where I am. And I am hopping on this live to do a story time and share a revelation of this story time. And then this is also just me celebrating me in this moment and completing mini cycles. Um, kind of feel like they all being wrapped up into one, but it has been a very long journey. Um, but definitely closing out some huge life cycles. Um, Actually, many. And I'm still just, I feel like I've been processing for the last few weeks and still processing. So I was like, as I was getting ready to get on here, I was like, oh, I should do this first. I should do that first. I should do all the things first. And then my nerves started to um, grab a hold of me. Anxiety started kicking in. And I was like, what is going on? And my spiritual team was like, look, you have put off showing up long enough. You have put off sharing you with the world for long enough. You have procrastinated long enough. So this feeling that you're feeling is not gonna go away until you do what your soul is guiding you to do. And it's such a huge moment for me. Um, I already got my tissues because I know I'm probably gonna get emotional. But it's such a huge um moment for me because I'm closing out so many life cycles. And like I said, I feel like it's all in one, but it has been a long, what feels like very drawn out, slow, and steady process that for many years I didn't feel like I was going to make it through it. And so it's a lot. And I know I've processed some of it. I know I'm going to process more as I'm sharing, but this is, it's just such a huge moment. So I just had to remind myself to take breaks and just breathe and take pauses when I need to as I'm doing this. But I'm here. I'm here and I'm present. So I posted a short where I was just talking about how yesterday was um, me closing out a 3-year cycle of me choosing me or stepping into new um this new energy of just choosing me after walking away from my 16-year toxic marriage. And yesterday was so huge because I was like, dang, first of all, the 3 years went by so fast. And when I was entering this 3-year cycle, I didn't know what I knew. I was thinking very small. I was thinking, oh, I'm going to heal from my marriage in these 3 years. I'm going to just pour into me and just heal from the 16 years of hell that I went through. I would give it 15 if I had to, credit the first year. The first year wasn't horrible. And of course, they had some light moments in between the 16 years, but for the most part, it was pretty dark. And so when I was coming out of that, I thought that I was going to be healing from that. And as the years went by, I was like, I don't really feel like I processed what I went through in that marriage, but I was doing work. I was healing. I was processing. I was coming back to me. And I really, really didn't understand what that was until yesterday. like what the whole 3 years was about. And so when I posted the short, I was like, I knew I was supposed to be single for 3 years and just be by myself and just pour into me. And for me, like I said, I thought it was about healing from the marriage. I thought it was about not getting into another relationship, and just focusing on me because of that, right? But it was so much bigger than that. Um, the number three was very significant. And I said yesterday in the short, I was like, that number was chosen. And I was like, the number three, like what does the number three really mean? And so I looked it up this morning, and I'm gonna just read what um what came up. It said the number three signifies wholeness, divine perfection, and balance, representing the harmony of mind, body, and spirit, or the unity of the past, present, and future. It embodies creative expression, optimistic communication, and spiritual growth. And within the last year, I felt like I brought all three into alignment, like mind, body, and soul. Because I was just saying, like, man, like the last month, I feel like the last piece of the puzzle for me was bringing my mind into alignment with my heart and my soul, and um and loving on my body and accepting where I was and just bringing all those into alignment. And still not knowing what's happening, still not understanding the process and what's really going on internally. Um, Still not understanding what's going on internally and the changes that's happening on the inside of me. I just been kind of going through it. And I really, in the last 3 months, was guided just to, not in the last 3 months, but in the last month, just to rest. And I didn't know why. It was like, just rest. Like, you have done so much. And you don't even realize how much work you have done just within yourself, just in this last month. We're not going to even talk about the last 3 decades. We're not going to even talk about that because that feels like it's so far back there. Just in the last month, the last year, how much work you have done within yourself and how much healing you have done and how much growing and how much processing, how much releasing, just all of the things you don't even realize how much you have done. So just rest, just be present, just have fun, just celebrate you. And um this 3 year cycle that I just closed out of choosing me and pouring into me is so significant because I'm 42, I'm closing out so many cycles, but the one that's so prevalent to this 3 year cycle and this 3 years that I was guided to be by myself and just love on me and come back to trusting me, come back into alignment with my soul is so significant from 3 decades ago. And 3 decades ago, I was 12. And 3 decades ago, at the age of 12, was when I was disconnected from my body, where I stopped trusting myself, where I began to walk this path of feeling so alone and so isolated and so disconnected from myself and not trusting me. And what I felt like I wasn't trusting me. I didn't trust the universe. I didn't trust my spiritual team. I didn't trust anything. Like, I really felt like I was going through life, just going through the motions. And for a long time, I was. It wasn't until At least I thought when I turned 32 that I came into this awakening of me and started to see me different and started to see life different. But it started way before that. So at 12 was the disconnect from myself. And for 3 decades, for 3 decades, I felt disconnected. I didn't trust myself. That's 3 decades. So in these 3 years that I was guided to be by myself, in these 3 years was the 3 years of me coming back from that disconnect when I was 12. It was me coming back to trusting me, where I lost the trust in myself from when I was 12. So it's 3 decade cycle closing out, and this 3 year cycle closing of me re-entering my body in full alignment, mind, body, and soul. It's me coming back to trusting me. And I have trusted me more in this year than I have trusted me in the past 3 decades, which is so huge. And I just said the other day, I was like, just reflecting and thinking about all that I have overcome and all that I have went through. And going through all that, I didn't trust myself. And I'm like, you did all that. You overcame all that, not trusting yourself. What do you think you're about to do now that you trust yourself? I look at all of the beauty that even in the chaos, even when I felt alone, even when I felt disconnected, even when I felt like I wasn't being guided, when I felt like I wasn't being protected, I was. And in the midst of that, and through all of that, I still was able to stay true to my heart. I still was able to keep my heart open. I still was able to love in a way that I didn't even know. I didn't even know like the purity of the love that I was pouring out, because I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it, but it was there. And I didn't feel it because I was disconnected from myself. At 12, I really left my body. Like really, I disconnected from my soul at 12. No doubt about it. Like I disconnected from my soul. I did. So I really was going through life hidden from myself for 3 decades. Hidden from myself. And in the disconnect, I still was able to. And now I see it as an illusion of a disconnection. An illusion that needed to be there for me to get to this moment. To get to this version of me. I just keep thinking like, wow, look at all that you did not trusting yourself. But you were trusting yourself the whole time. Like, it's so crazy to me. It's just mind blowing, because it's like, you keep saying you didn't trust yourself, but you showed in every action that you have taken up until this point that you have trusted yourself. In every action that you have taken, you trusted yourself this whole time. So it really was an illusion that was placed over me for me to go in and master and experience this life the way that my soul wanted to experience it, for me to get to this point, to get to this version of me. I really didn't understand, like, throughout my whole journey, like, I've always had this knowing. I've always had this knowing of things since I was young, right? Glimpse. I call it, I can't remember how I worded it before. I think I said like, Moments in time is how I phrase them. Moments in time where I had these glimpses of knowing of future events, not knowing the details of it, but just like, for instance, the things that I was going to experience the most heartache and pain in, and where I was going to grow the most, was the things that I said when I was younger I didn't want to do. I said I never wanted to get married. I said I didn't want to have kids. These were things I said as a kid. But it was in my marriage that I discovered the best parts of me. It was in being a mother that I have discovered and still discovering the best parts of me. And they were the most challenging. They were the most challenging things. I want y'all to understand the disconnect and how that created this illusion of me not trusting myself, of me disconnecting from my soul, just to be shown that this whole time you were so connected, you were so trusting, but the illusion of you not made the journey feel like it was so hard and unendurable. But you pushed through that. You pushed through that because this inner knowing, the thing that you couldn't disconnect from, the essence of who you are, which means no amount of trauma, no amount of anything that you've been through can separate you from that, is what I know now. And why I'm being guided to share this is so people know, like, nothing that you've been through can disconnect you from the essence of who you are and what you're destined to do in this life. It's an illusion, and it's an illusion that we have to break free from through our experiences. And it's just trusting yourself to keep going, even when you feel like me, like you can't trust yourself. And I felt like I couldn't trust myself because at 9, I was having a conversation with my sister and some friends. And it's so crazy that I can remember this like it was yesterday. We were sitting down talking, 9 years old. And the conversation wasn't even around this. It wasn't even around this topic, but we was just talking, and I just stopped in the midst of and said, you know what would be the worst thing that could happen to someone? Is for them to lose their virginity through a rape. And I said that, and then I just went right back into the conversation like as if it was nothing. So at 12, when I experienced that, it was the worst thing that I experienced. And it was the worst thing because at 9 I had said it would be the worst thing that could happen to somebody. And then when it happened to me, in the moments before, I was guided to leave, to get out of this car and to go home. And I stayed in that car because I was like, if I get out, something's going to happen to me. So I was scared. So when I didn't get out the car and something happened to me, it devastated me. It made me feel like I could never trust myself again because my intuition was telling me to leave and I didn't. And then the very thing that I said would be the worst thing that could happen to somebody happened to me. So that was the disconnect, and I trusted myself. And saying I could never listen to me again because I didn't listen to me in that moment that was guiding me to keep me safe. So that caused me to not feel like I couldn't trust myself, or created this illusion over me that I couldn't trust myself for 3 decades. 3 decades. So yesterday, I closed out the cycle of choosing me, to coming back to me, to honoring me, to knowing that I can trust me, all of me, bringing my mind, body, and soul back into alignment. And as you can see, if you go back and watch my journey of doing these YouTube videos, just in the past month, the joy, the peace, the love, and the trust that I have for myself was gone for so long. And it's like I said in another video, like I feel like my youth has been restored. I feel like I've been born again. Like I feel new. And I know I am. This version of me have not existed. This version of me that trusts me, that loves me completely, inside and out, flaws and all, imperfections, knowing that I wasn't sent here to be perfect. I was sent here to experience this life, knowing that the experiences are just that. It's not something that I need to hold on to or take on as my identity. It's just the experience. An experience that's helping me to grow and to evolve. The number 3. When I was getting ready to leave my marriage, the last year, it's funny how the last year brings so much clarity. The last year of things, the last year of that marriage, like I just knew, like, hey, you're gonna be single for 3 years. And I was thinking like, oh, okay, I'm gonna heal and I'm not gonna date anybody. And then as I was getting closer to the 3 years, I kept saying, now that I'm approaching this 3-year completion, like I don't even know if I want to date. Like I don't know if I want to bring anybody into my space. Like I've been working really hard on just loving me and this space that I have created within myself. I don't know if I want anybody coming in and interrupting that, or just having to deal with any of that. But it wasn't even about, it was about that too, but it, like, that wasn't the big part of why I was meant to be single and by myself for 3 years. It was me healing from those that that trauma and that separation from when I was 12, which is so crazy now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, that was 3 decades ago. And then I was guided to take 3 years by myself to restore all that was lost 3 decades ago. The healing that has taken place within me in these 3 years, man, it has been really beautiful. Really beautiful. And that's why I tell people, like, healing happens in layers. You don't have to go digging up stuff. What you need to process and what you need to heal from is going to show up when it's time for you to heal and process from it. And it has been a journey of layers of healing from that trauma that happened to me when I was 12. And it's like now, right here in this moment, yesterday, like it was like that cycle was completed. Like I was in this cocoon for 3 years and being restored back to the essence of me, because the essence of me, I thought it was stolen in that moment. For a long time, I held that as my identity. Like, oh, this happened to me. And then the crazy part about it is, I'm shown like my voice is my gift. And in that moment of that trauma, me not speaking up and saying anything is because I felt like if I didn't say anything, it was like it never happened. If I don't say anything, it's like it never, I can act like this never happened to me and just go on about my life. And it didn't change anything because it did happen. And even though I didn't say anything, it stuck with me for my life. It didn't go anywhere. It was still there. And as much as I tried to bury it and suppress it, it was there just waiting, waiting for this moment, waiting for these 3 years, waiting for me to be present with it, waiting for my heart to be open to restore what was lost or what I felt like was lost or taken from me. In these last 3 years, that's what has been happening. And I thought it was going to be about healing from my marriage, but it wasn't. And I'm not going to say that in the midst of me healing from what happened to me when I was 12, that I haven't healed parts of me from what happened to me in my marriage. I'm sure it's like a ripple effect, but I still probably have processing to do from that. But that's not what these 3 years was about. These 3 years was about me coming back to me and, yeah, stepping into my power, stepping into what I truly came here to do. Because the trauma was not it. The trauma was not my identity. It wasn't why I came here. I didn't come here to suffer. I went through those experiences for a reason. It wasn't just for me, it was to help others along their journey too. So now I'm understanding why my soul is guiding me to do this, saying, hey, you get on this live and just start talking. Just start sharing your experiences. Stop looking for it to be perfect. It doesn't matter about the things, the numbers. None of that matters. It's about you honoring you and your truth, you speaking up. Because as you're doing this, you're healing. Every time you get on this live and you talk and you share, you're healing. And in the midst of that, you're helping others to heal also. You may never know who you're touching. You may never know their process or their journey. None of that matters because it's about you. It's about you answering the call that your soul chose to come to this life and do. And so that's where I am. And it's like, wow, like everything that I ever thought, or however I thought this journey was going to be, or what it was going to look like, even yesterday. Like yesterday was so special, and I was like, oh, I just want to go celebrate. I want to do this. I want to do that. But it rained all day yesterday. And this weekend, Saturday, I had the most significant purge. Like I cried a cry that I haven't cried in years. And I know now, as I'm talking right now, I'm realizing what that was. It was the cry that I didn't cry when I was 12. That's what that was. My daughter was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I don't know. I just need to get in the shower. I just need to get in the shower. She was like, you're crying because you need to get in the shower? And I was like, I just need to get in the shower. And I got in the shower and I cried. The sound that came out of me, the release, I did not understand it until this moment, right now, as I'm sitting here. That was the cry that I didn't cry when I was 12. Oh man, this journey is something, I'm telling you. As I sit here, I'm like, as hard as this shit has been, as hard as it has been, This me that I have discovered, I would not trade it. I wouldn't trade it. Because it's me that I see every morning when I wake up and I look in the mirror. I love her so much. I love her so much. And it took so much for me to get here. It took so much for me to get here. So much. And I did it. I did it. I did it. In 2002, no, it was in 2020. I no longer wanted to be here because I didn't see a way out. I felt like what I was in, I was never going to come out of. Being in that marriage, I'm telling you, it was some of the darkest moments, but I discovered me and the best parts of me in it, but it was so hard. It was so hard. It was so hard. So challenging. So in 2020, when I brought those pills and I wanted to take my life, I tell people, I'm like, it's like my higher self saved me. My higher self. And I would like to think that higher self in that moment was me. This version right here. Saying, hey, this situation, you can change this, but you can't change it if you decide to take your life. You cannot change that. You have the power to change this situation, but you can't change if you decide to end it now. So I always tell people it was like my higher self saved me. And then a year later, I was still in it for a whole year. And in that year, I felt like, okay, I was told that I have the power to change this, but I'm still here. And it was in that year that now I chose to stay here. I chose to continue to keep living. And now the person that I love and care about is trying to take my life. So it's time to go. And that's when I knew in that moment it was time to leave. It was time to leave. Oh man. It's I really struggle with words because I feel like words does not do how I want to express the things. I feel like the words don't do it no justice. So sometimes I struggle to find the right word to express what I'm trying to say. Um but I have been through enough experiences to know that what I thought something was or what I thought it was gonna be is not it don't be nowhere near close to what it actually is. And so that has allowed me to just for this new chapter, for this new timeline, to just open my heart to the experience and not try to think about, oh, what it's going to be, how it's going to look. and just be present and show up for the experience, no matter what it looks like, because nothing about my journey, nothing about the experience that I went through equals to what I thought it was going to be, you know? So um, I'm trusting the process. And the reason why I can trust the process now is because I trust me. So um, the first year of my 3 year cycle of coming back to me and choosing me, I posted a video where I was like, man, like I just have this peace. And if I had to describe it, I would describe it as being back home in my body. And those words were very significant because when I described what happened to me after the trauma of when I was 12, I always said I left my body. I disconnected from myself, the true essence of myself, which is my soul. I disconnected from that. And so I'm thinking about that video right now and just that moment and that feeling and saying, man, I feel at home within myself, within my vessel. And each year, that's, man, as I'm sitting here processing and as they're continuing to show me the significance of that 3 years. So the first year was me re-entering my body, coming back home to me. That was the first year. My soul and me reconnecting. And then the second year was me honoring my body or understanding like the things that I was struggling with as far as the food and the judgment and like, oh my goodness. And so just having all this weight on me too, like y'all have to understand, like it all was a part of the process. It all was a part of the journey. I was 211 pounds. What it felt like it was forever. And I was so stagnant in that weight. And I kept saying, what is up with this? Like the weight not going up or down. The weight is not going up or down. But in the last month, the weight has, like, I'm back to my original weight. I'm back to my original weight. And I did nothing. I didn't go on no diet. I didn't go on no, nothing. Like the changes just started to happen. Like things just began to come into harmony the way they needed to be. And so the first year was me reconnecting to my soul. The second year was the body and me understanding like, hey, just honor your body. Just pay attention to what your body is telling you. Just trust your body. Trust it. And then this last year, was the mind. This last year was the mind. And I remember so clear when the mind came into alignment with the soul and the body. I woke up and I was judging it. I was like, oh my goodness, like all these thoughts, like the thoughts, like it's here. And I sat up out my sleep and I was just sitting there and I was just being one with my mind. And I was like, okay, the mind, I started to have compassion for the mind. Because I was like, the mind is always collecting data. Like, I mean, you got to think about it since we came out. Like, the mind has been collecting data. Just absorbing information since we were little till now. Like, I had compassion for the mind, because I was like, wow, like that's a lot. And just absorb. I keep saying, wanting to say absorbing, but the mind taking in this information. I was observing my mind. And in the moment, I was like, how many thoughts you can have in a moment? How many thoughts can come into your mind in one moment? And I just was laughing. Like, I was like, what? Like, you was just thinking about this, and now it's something about peanut butter, and now it's this. And I'm just like, the mind. But I woke up this day and I just had compassion for my mind, which was something that I never did. Like, I never even thought about it. I was like, never thought about the mind. It just was like the mind is there, is thinking all these thoughts. Some of the thoughts I want them to just stop, you know what I'm saying? But over my time of meditating, I've learned how to be present and not try to control the thoughts and just allow them to be. And going to my breath and just flowing with that allowed me to come out of my mind. But I've never appreciated my mind. I've never had compassion for the mind, or just loved the mind for what it is. But the compassion was very important, because it was like, all your life you have been taking in information. So do you blame the mind for what it is? Like, what? Like, you wanted to just stop overnight? Look at all that they have taken in every day, and especially since social media became a thing. Oh my goodness, like, it's crazy, but that's a whole nother video. I'm like, what is going on? But the mind was the last piece of the Trinity of my 3 years of completing, bringing me into alignment. And then as I'm sitting there this morning and I'm like thinking about my short yesterday, and I was like, the number three it was a very chosen number. It's very significant. When I was thinking about that and I looked it up and I read what it meant, I was like taken away. Like, my mind was blown, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is pretty amazing. Now I understand this beautiful love that I have for myself now, and just appreciation for my journey. Like, it all had purpose. You know, people say everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. Is an understatement. So in that, I realized, like, man, just in this last year, I was so in the moment of the present, like right now, that I was like, okay, the last year. And then I was like, wait, the last 3 years. And I was like, I can't even think about the other two, because I'm just thinking about this last year, and I can't even think about the last year because I'm just thinking about this last month. And how much I have changed just in this year. Like, I have changed. I have went in a cocoon and came out, went back in the cocoon and came out so many times that it's like, oh my goodness, like, the transformation is real. Okay? Like, the death and rebirth is real. It's not something that just happens one time. It's happening throughout our lives. It's happening throughout our lives. And so as I'm sitting there and I'm writing down what I've discovered about my 3-year cycle, I get a phone call from my best friend. And I wasn't going to answer at first because I was writing, but then I looked at my notebook and I was like, okay, I'm done. And I answered the phone. And when I answer the phone, she says, hold up. I just need to say this because I cannot take this. And I'm like, what's going on? She was like, I have experienced you in your changes for a while now. She was like, for some years, some decades, I have experienced these changes. She said, but baby, the changes that you have made, she said, I would like to say in the last month or in the last year. She said, but I feel like in the last 2 weeks, the changes that you have made in the last 2 weeks, she was like, I can't take it. I'm somebody who I need my structure. I need things to, she said, I need it to be this way. She was like, the changes that you have made in the last 2 weeks. She said, I can't even say the last month or the last year. She said the last 2 weeks. How you have changed. The changes you have went through in the last 2 weeks. She said, and I'm pretty sure you have another change that you want to tell me about right now, but I just need to get this out because I can't take it. And I told her, I said, well, guess what? You just have to accept it because I'm a reflection and they're just trying to show you that you have to let go of your routine. She was like, that's what she said. I'm a routine person. I need my routine. I kind of need things to stay the same. I need the structure. She said, and you have just catapulted in this change in the last 2 weeks. She said, you have been through some changes. She said, but in the last 2 weeks, the amount of change that has happened within you, she said, I can't take it. I can't take it. She said, I'm about to crash out because I need my routine. And these changes has interrupted our routine of how we connect. And she started laughing. And then she went on to say, you have went into this cocoon. She said, and you have went through all these changes. She said, now look at you now. You've come out of the cocoon. You're this butterfly. And you are in the butterfly pavilion flying around with all the butterflies. And I am saying, Queen, where are you? She said, that's what this feels like. And it was so profound. The way she worded everything that she worded was so significant. It was the universe saying, let us show you how much work you have done, how many beautiful changes you have made. Yes, we're going to honor all of the years. We're going to honor the decades. But let's just come back to the moment. We want you to see in this moment and just reflect on and be present with how much you have changed, how much you have grown, how much you have evolved, how many times you done been in a cocoon and came out the butterfly, death and rebirth, death and rebirth, rebirth and death, rebirth and death, cycle after cycle. You rose up to the challenge. You didn't shy away from change. You didn't fear change. You didn't fear change. And even when you were afraid, even when you felt like you didn't know what you was doing, even when you felt like you couldn't trust yourself, you were trusting yourself this whole time. That's why you are the alchemist. That's why you love that book so much. because you were searching and searching and searching outside of you for all those years. And the whole time, the treasure and the power was within you. This whole time, you were doing the very thing that you didn't think you were doing. The illusion, the the veil that was over my eyes, that illusion of separation, that illusion of not trusting me, that illusion of feeling like that trauma had took away my innocence, had took away my identity. The illusion of that followed me for 3 decades. 3 decades. And I just want y'all to understand this, because this is what healing is like. 3 decades of trauma, of separation, of what I felt like was separation, of what I felt like was me not trusting me. 3 decades. When you think about that, when we think about time, you're like, wow, that's a long time. Well, guess what? That's exactly how I felt. Wow. Oh my goodness. Am I ever going to get out of this? Is this ever going to end? But just take a moment and just think about this. 3 decades, if we coming into time, is a long time. That's a long time. That's a long time. But what I experienced in 3 decades, that trauma from when I was 12, that I carried for 3 decades, I have healed in 3 years. Whew. That deserves a moment of silence. That deserves a moment of reflection. Coming back to me. Oh, wow. I think it was about, if I get to saying time, then I'm really telling the tale, because I don't know how long ago it was, but it's been a while that I have been saying. This whole time, this journey has been about me coming back to me. And I titled it Queen's Spiritual Journey of Self-Discovery and Healing. Because that's what it's been this whole time. And yes, I'm sure, have more things that I have to heal and process. But it's been so many just in this 3-year cycle. Many things. I really feel like it's been a ripple effect. I feel like what I felt like took so long, because, when it comes to the divine, there is no such thing as time. There's no such thing as time. What feels like forever to us is like a day to the divine. So healing 3 decades of separation, of trauma from myself in 3 years is mind blowing. Is mind blowing. And the work I've been doing and how I've been going within myself and recognizing, right? Because a lot of people think when you're on a spiritual journey, like everything is supposed to be, you know, peaches and cream. And even when you're in alignment, it doesn't mean that you're not going to continue to feel hurt and pain, and that the things are not going to come up from your past that you have to heal and process. And before, I used to feel like if those things came up, I was doing something wrong or I was out of alignment. And in this past month, the things has been coming up and I just sit with it. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Why am I feeling this heaviness in my chest? Where is this coming from? And my soul is taking me to like, hey, when you were 6, this is where you first felt alone and felt like you had to protect yourself and be there for yourself at 6. So then I'm going there and I'm like, okay, I feel like where we are in time now, like what may have taken decades is now taking like a matter of seconds, is what it feels like to me, because I'm sitting there and it's like, nah, we ain't got time. We spent a lot of time procrastinating. We spent a lot of time being afraid. So now it's like, nah, we don't have time for that. Let's just get straight to the root. What was the root cause? Because I can go to moments in time where I felt these little things, but what was the root? What was the root cause of this? And then I go to that age and I'm like, okay, let me just sit with you and let me remind you that I'm sorry. Let me say the things to you that you wanted somebody to say to you that never was said to you. I'm sorry that you had to experience that. I'm sorry that you felt so alone. I'm sorry that you didn't feel protected. But I want you to know that I love you. I see you. And you are protected. I'm here for you. I love you. And I just give myself a hug. And then I feel lighter and I'm like, okay, that's what she needed. That's what I needed. You know? So, yeah. So, I didn't know when I was entering this 3 years of choosing me, what it really meant. And as I close out the 3 years yesterday, this is just my recap. I discovered that this 3-year cycle was me healing and coming back to me. Healing from my trauma when I was 12, which disconnected me, disconnected me from my soul, from my body, from my mind, separated me from my essence and just my innocence. What I felt like the illusion of that. Because that's what it was this whole time. It was an illusion. And it was a pretty good one because I believed it with my whole heart. I believed it with my whole heart. But in these 3 years, I was coming back into alignment. I was coming back to mind, body, and soul. Coming back to my oneness, the true essence of who I am, which is the divine in flesh. Like it's in me. It's something that I always knew. I was like, it's nothing separate from me. It's me. I am that I am. I am the divine and the divine is me. And we live together in perfect harmony is one of my mantras. Like I've always known that. But then again, like I've always had this knowing. So coming back to that, you've always had this knowing. In those moments in time where I just stopped. You heard how that car passed? That's how fast these past 3 years has been in this process. Like, I don't know, just in the last 3 years, how many cocoons that I went into and came out of. Actually, three. Yeah, three. It's been three because it's been 3 years. It's been 3 years. So, the recap is I didn't know what the three meant. I just knew I needed 3 years for me. I didn't really know why. And then yesterday, as I closed out the 3 year cycle, my soul revealed to me what happened in those 3 years. And I looked it up, and I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to close out with this. The number 3 signifies wholeness, divine perfection, and balance, representing the harmony of mind, body, and spirit, or the unity of the past, present, and future. It embodies creative expression, optimistic communication, and spiritual growth. Appearing in religion contexts like Christian Holy Trinity, like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, or in Buddhism, y'all, I'm not gonna even try it, but it's like the Trinity. Because I'm like, I don't want to butcher it. It's like the Trinity for them. But what it means is like the divine presence in completeness is what the number 3 signifies. The divine presence in completeness. I mean, let's just take a moment and just rest in that, because I have entered the divine presence in completeness within myself, bringing me back into alignment with the essence of who I truly am, that was present this whole time. So when I tell you that my heart beats gratitude, my heart beats gratitude for my life, for my journey, for the good and the bad, the light and the darkness, the love and the hatred. It beats gratitude for the people who have seen me when I didn't see myself, for the people who chose not to see me because they couldn't see themselves. I have gratitude for it all. And I am so excited for this moment. So look out, world. Queen is here, okay? She is here. Now I understand. Now I understand. I understand. I had a glimpse. I had moments in time where the universe was showing me, this is why your name was changed. This is why your name was changed. This is why your name was changed. And I will do a live on that. I will do a live on that. But in summary of the number 3, it says, wholeness and completeness. 3 represents a complete cycle or a significant whole, like the 3 major gods in Hinduism, Hinduism, and or the 3-person of the Christian Trinity. Divine connection. It's a holy number The number 3 is a holy number symbolizing the divine in many spiritual traditions, underscoring God's sovereignty and divine presence. Creativity and communication of the number 3. The number is linked to self-expression, encouraging individuals to share their individuality with the world. When it comes to balance and harmony, the number 3 symbolizes the union of opposing forces or different aspects of existence, such as mind, body, and spirit, or the 3 phases of time: past, present, and future. So for this one, I didn't share this, but in this last month, as I'm sitting with me and I'm going, like I'm being shown the versions of me that I need to heal and release things from, the last time I did that, at first I was just going from this version of me to past versions of me. And then the other day, I was guided to sit with the past versions of me and the future versions of me in alignment. So when I read this, I was like, oh, wow, that's what was happening. It's bringing the 3 into harmony. They coexist within you, the past versions of you and the future versions of you. And the present version is the one that's here, right? So being present with her, but also knowing that you are connected to your past and your future. So, spiritual growth. The number 3 in numerology, 3 encourages personal and spiritual expansion, helping people align with their higher purpose and embrace positivity. Oh man. Whew. When I tell you, my soul is so full. Only thing I ever wanted was to understand me in my journey, what I went through. Why did I have to go through all of that pain and suffering? Why did people just not see me in my heart? But then I was shown the angels that have been sent on my path. Some was very, temporary, short, short connections, glimpse of, hey, I see you. I want you to know that you're not alone and you're seen. And then I was gifted. I was gifted with beautiful, beautiful connections that have walked with me for some decades through this, what I felt like was chaos this whole time. But it really was, I thought it was a mess, but it really was a masterpiece. It really was a masterpiece. Man, you have grown when you can just appreciate all of it. All of it. The good and the bad. The good and the bad. So, it has been 3 decades since I disconnected from my soul and stopped trusting me. And after leaving my toxic marriage, I was guided to take 3 years to heal and pour into me. And in that 3 years, I thought it was going to be about healing from my marriage, but it wasn't. It was about me healing from my trauma of when I was 12, where my mind, my body, and my soul disconnected. And in this 3 year cycle, in this 3 years of choosing me, I was realigned mind, body, and soul. Yeah. So I'm celebrating. Just, yeah, every moment. I'm celebrating with my heart just filled with gratitude. I told my niece, and I've been saying this lately, like, my heart beats gratitude. It beats gratitude. And I'm excited. I'm excited for this new chapter. Like, I'm the me that I've been waiting for. Like, I have arrived. And I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again because I want it here. I want it here. I keep reflecting on how much I have done in this time of not trusting me, how much I have overcame, how much I have evolved and grown when I didn't trust me. Now that I trust me, look out, world. I'm here. I'm here. Like, what? We're doing this. It's going to be beautiful. I'm excited. Peace, love, and light. Y'all have a beautiful day.